Welcome to No Bunts, the podcast for the casual baseball fan here at The Athletic. I'm J.E. Skeets in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, the man making the magic happen, super producer J.D.
Hello.
There he is, and my co-host, joining us from Taiwan. He appears to still be in his Halloween costume, because this guy's dressed as a stud. It's Joel McMillan.
Well done, Skeets. How long have you been sitting on that one for? I like
Came
it.
to me last night. What's up, you stud muffin? Joel.
I love it.
Excuse my ignorance. Do they celebrate Halloween in Taiwan? Is that a thing?
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of. I don't know. Like they do.
Can you answer this question? How long have you lived
Well,
there?
like in the same way they celebrate it at Christmas, or like they don't officially, but like because it's a Western thing, like schools do and things like that. They get into the season, but no, like we didn't get any trick or treaters last night.
Oh, that's sad. Well, you know what? Neither did I.
Yes, and neither did I.
I'm on a dead-end street. So
Really?
is JD. Yeah, a dead-end street. It was cold in Atlanta last night, so I think people were like really efficient with their trick-or-treating. They were like, hit the rich neighborhoods, hit the rich blocks, get those full-size chocolate bars, and let's get home. But yeah, nothing. So I got a bunch of leftover candy, Joel. I'll mail you some.
Okay, good. I'll eat it. I'll definitely give it a good home.
All right. So the Texas Rangers are one win away from their first World Series title. Game 4 of the Fall Classic last night featured the Rangers putting up 5 spots in the second and third innings on way to the 11-7 victory over the Diamondbacks. Texas improved to 10-0 on the road in the postseason, which is mind-boggling. That's a record, of course. And again, they've closed within their first title in the 63 season history of a franchise. So Joel, I wanted to recap the World Series so far with a little fill in the blank. I'm stealing a segment from No Dunks. Get me started, Joel. I want you to fill in the blank. Best game or moment from the World Series so far was blank.
Bottom of the 9th inning, game 1, when Kyle Seager hit that game-tying home run. Arizona looked pretty in control of that game. Looked like they were going to steal game 1 on the road. They had played a great game up to that point. They had everything kind of going their way. They lined up their bullpen. They had Paul Sewald in, who hadn't given up an earned run the entire postseason. And then Seager just absolutely crushed that pitch. And there's a still photo of him, Skeets. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's like yelling in, I don't know, celebration or happiness or whatever, but you know, you can just kind of see him following the ball go off the bat, and Sewald just immediately slumps his shoulders. He knew that was probably the greatest moment of this series so far. And in a weird way, even though like it was game 1, I kind of feel like that set the tone and turned the tide for Texas, because you know, if Arizona closes that game out, this series is 2-2, and that's completely different than a 3-1 series. So, yeah, I would say Kyle Seager's big home run, game-tying home run in the bottom of the 9th in Game 1 there. Biggest moment of this World Series.
I don't want to fact-check you, but I am a casual baseball fan. Kyle Seager or Corey Seager?
Sorry, Corey Seager. And literally in my notes today, I wrote Kyle Seager, and I was editing. I'm like, oh, my gosh. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
He is a player, though, isn't he?
He's his brother. He's his older brother.
Okay. Well, there you go. There you go. Yes,
Corey. But still, I got that wrong. Corey Seager. Yes. Sorry.
I knew who you were talking about. It was, just a brain fart there. I did want to get your take quickly on Game 4 specifically last night, because I saw The Athletic, a couple of articles about this idea of the bullpen game. And that's what the Diamondbacks were doing, and it sort of blew up in their face. 11 hits by the winning team, obviously. 12 by the losing team, 13 pitchers overall. I mean, this game would have taken 14 hours if we didn't have the pitch clock. But this idea of like the bullpen game, I've heard you talk about it a lot. They set up for it, but people are pushing back like, this is the World Series. Is this really the move to do this? Do you have a take on that?
Well, I mean, yeah, it blew up in their face, but at the same time, who is Arizona going to start? I mean, they've pretty much been using 3 pitchers the majority of the postseason. I don't know if they've bullpenned a game this playoffs yet, but yeah, like it just completely blew up in their face. Now, that being said, they kind of had it set up because they hadn't used their main relievers in games 2 and 3 because they kind of blew Texas out in game 2. And Merrill Kelly was able to go deep. And then in game 3, Faft, or what, I can never pronounce that guy's last name, he still gave them like I think 5 innings. So they hadn't really used their big bullpen guys too much. So like in theory, I guess it kind of looked like a good idea, but they just couldn't get anybody out. Like you said, back-to-back innings of 5+ runs, and the game was over by the 3rd inning. I mean, it's crazy that Arizona made it as close as they did, like in the end. But yeah, I can definitely see the criticisms of of going with a bullpen game, and that's why like you just need solid starting pitching. Like I know a bullpen is key, especially in October, but bullpenning a World Series game, that's a big ask. I still think you should be able to at least roll 4 starters in the World Series. And Texas has been able to do that, and Arizona just can't.
Yeah. All right, next one here. After 4 games, Joel, the World Series MVP front runner is blank.
That would be Kyle Seager's younger brother, Corey Seager, Jay Skeets. I'm going to get it right this time.
Yeah.
I know we just talked about him. It's a bit of deja vu, but I sound like a broken record. But, I mean, make a case against him. He's got 3 home runs, 5 runs scored, and 6 RBIs, through 4 games. I think he's clearly the front runner at this point with Adolis Garcia going down with an injury. He was kind of the hot guy coming into this series. He had the game-winning home run, obviously, in game 1. Simeon has heated up the last 2 games, but I don't know if he's done enough to merit winning a World Series MVP. And I just want to cover my bases in the off chance that the Diamondbacks do come back. I think the front runner would be Ketel Marte. He set the postseason record, just continues to add. He's now had a hit in 20 consecutive playoff games. He's had 5 base hits this series. 2 of them have been for extra base hits and 4 RBI. So he's clearly been Arizona's best player. So yeah, if the Diamondbacks are able to pull this out in 7, it's Marte. But I got to think, if the Rangers close this out, it has to be Corey Seager. He's just having a great World Series.
Yeah, especially like you said with Garcia now off of the roster with the injury. I think it is Seager. 4 long balls in his last 5 games when you are dating back to the American League Championship Series. I did see, too, that Seager, he led the Dodgers to the 2020 title. If he wins another World Series MVP, he joins Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, and Reggie Jackson as the only 2-time World Series MVPs. That caught me by surprise. So he is on track to join that incredible list of names.
Yeah, and in different leagues too, because I don't know how many World Series MVPs won one for a National League team and an American League team. I feel that's got to be a short list too.
Yeah. All right, next one here. This is a fun one. Fill in the blank. Most underrated storyline from the World Series is what?
Okay, this was an excellent question, Skeets. This was all you. I like how you put this for me here. I'm gonna say the most underrated storyline is this World Series has shown that there's 2 completely different ways to get to the World Series, and both of these teams have kind of provided a rough roadmap of how to do that. It's been said time and time again in this series that both teams lost over 100 games. I feel that you hear that a lot on the broadcast, but how Arizona and how Texas got here is completely different. And we've covered that, and I don't want to really go into that again, but it's really exciting, I feel, to see that there are different ways. And typically a rebuild in baseball takes upwards of like 4 to 5, even like 6 years in some cases. And now you're seeing teams, like that these 2 teams have shown, you can actually not only like get to the playoffs, but you can get to the World Series and have a very quick turnaround if you're either really good with your spending like the Rangers have been, or like if you're really good drafting, developing, and making savvy trades like the Diamondbacks have done. So I think that's kind of one of the big storylines in this, is that there's lots of different ways to get to the World Series. And just because you're a bad team, you don't have to wait 5 years. You can get there a lot sooner than you might think.
I love that answer. It's a good point. The idea of I hate to say buying your team, but obviously making some big free agent moves and spending a lot of dollars to get star players in, sort of like the Rangers did, compared to what the D-backs have done here, drafting, building those guys up, and then putting them in a position to win. And it is cool that we have both sides of the coin here between the Rangers and Diamondbacks in the World Series. Our next one here, Joel, Taco Bell, MLB, they brought back the annual Steal a Base, Steal a Taco promotion where a stolen base during the World Series earns a free Doritos Locos Taco. Okay? I hope you've already got yours, Joel, because in Game 1, the D-backs, Ketel Marte, stole second base in the top of the third, earning the title of this year's Taco Hero. Fans have like 10 days of the base being stolen to redeem this. But I want to get your take on this. So fill in the blank. Taco Bell's Steal a Base, Steal a Taco promotion is what?
Perfectly fitting for baseball. Perfectly fitting for baseball. And I'll give you a couple reasons why.
Okay.
Purely subjective. Baseball to me and Taco Bell are very similar in that you either love it or you hate it. You know, like I love Taco Bell. I love baseball. People are like, Taco Bell, that's disgusting. Baseball is boring. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, like it's not for everyone. So I kind of feel like they're on that level. There's no like kind of in between with both of them. And I think it's a great promotion. Like it gets people to watch. I'm sure there's people that are casual baseball fans or not even baseball fans at all, but they'll kind of at least have the game on in the background. They're like, man, I hope I get a free taco tonight. So I feel like it's genius advertising. But I'm curious, like, what's the process of getting this? Like, do you just show up to a Taco Bell and go, I was watching the World Series last night and Ketel Marte got a stolen base. Where's my, like, what is the process? What do you do?
Okay, what I believe, they've gotten slick with it, right? To actually redeem and get your free taco, you have to be a part of the Taco Bell sort of like redemption app or whatever. You have to be in their system. You know what I mean? You got to be signed up with Taco Bell and have the app. And then I'm sure something pops up on your screen and then you say, hey, give me my free taco within the 10 days of the first one being stolen. I think that's how they get you. So it's pretty smart on their end.
Oh, that's okay. So it's with the app. Okay. Because I was like, yeah, do I just show up at a Taco Bell and I'm like, go D-backs, hit me up? I really don't know.
Some facts about this promotion. A steal has happened in Game 1 of the Fall Classic each year since 2018. So it's been happening quickly. The promotion there, the Steal a Taco promotion. And then the taco clinching steal, many people thought it was a good omen for the D-backs because teams of the past Taco Heroes, as I called them, they're 8-3 in the World Series. Pretty good, overall record for that team that gets the first stolen base and gets everybody the tacos. They go on to win a majority of the time, but not looking good right now. I'm with you.
Skeets, are you going to get your free taco?
No, I don't need Taco Bell having my information, if I'm being honest. I'm more surprised. Like, it is a brilliant promotion. Whoever came up with it, I'm sure, hopefully got a raise and all that, because it is good, and it's we still talk about it every World Series, and you start thinking about Taco Bell, whatever. I can't believe they don't have something for, like, first dinger hit. Like, I can't believe they haven't applied it to mash a dinger, get mashed potatoes or something at a Cracker Barrel or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's clever. Yeah, you could easily extend this to other plays in baseball. Yeah, Skeets, that's a good point. Maybe they're leaving a bit of money on the table.
I think a good idea. Yeah, first strikeout, first homer, even first run. You could do a million things with baseball. But Taco Bell, they love this one, so good stuff for them. All right, final one here as we sort of wrap up this specific World Series talk. Prediction, Joel. Blank is going to win the World Series in blank games.
If I could do a good DMX impression, Skeets, I would do one, but I can't, so I'm just going to say I'm ride or die with the D-backs. I'm still going with them in 7, although that kind of looks like a foolish pick at this point. Your pick of Rangers in 5 looks excellent at this point. Listen, Arizona, even though they're down 3-1, I feel like it should be like 2-2 because they blew Game 1. But Texas has just really had like a handful of massive innings, and it's what they've been doing all playoffs. They just put up like a bunch of runs, and then they just kind of like ride that out. And they've done that in most of their wins. They did it last night. I mean, they were up 10-0. It ended up being 11-7, much closer than, that game actually had any business being. But Arizona needs to get the lead, Skeets. The last 2 games in Arizona, the crowd's been out of it.
Yep.
Texas has been leading all 18 innings. As crazy as it sounds, I still think there's a path for Arizona to at least get to a game 7. And once you get to a game 7, it's anyone's guess. But they obviously, it starts tonight, and they need to beat Eovaldi. The bad news is that Eovaldi's probably been the Rangers' best postseason pitcher. They did get to him in game 1, which was encouraging, but they need to get out to a lead, and they just need to somehow shut down that high-powered Texas offense. But I feel like if they can take game 5, then they go to game 6, and they got to Montgomery in game 2. They touched him up pretty bad. So again, like a lot of what ifs. Yeah. I still think there's a path, but I'm going to stick with Arizona in 7, just because I feel like they haven't really been outplayed, even though they're down 3-1. Like, they've had their chances, even in the game they lost, game 3, I believe it was, when they lost 3-1.
Yeah.
I mean, they had their chances in that game. Like, that was a low scoring game when Gabriel Moreno was called out in the 9th inning on a brutal strike call. That would have been a very different look if you've got the winning run at the plate versus, it's 3-1 and there's no runners on base. So I still think Arizona has a chance to get back in the series, but man, they got to get the lead. And just as a note, every team that has scored first between Arizona and Texas the whole playoffs has won every single one of those games. So got to score first.
Got to score first. I mean, the D-backs are helped out a little bit. Didn't matter in game 4, mind you, that Garcia, as I said, is out with a left oblique injury. Max Scherzer, back spasm. So both those guys removed from the Texas roster after getting injured. So, okay, that helps out the D-backs maybe. But 42 of the 49 previous teams to take 3-1 leads have gone on to win the World Series. So definitely tilting towards the Rangers. The most recent club, Joel, little trivia question, to overcome a 3-1 deficit in the World Series. Do you know?
The 2016 Chicago Cubs.
Look at this guy. He knows baseball and he knows tacos. Good stuff, Joel. All right. Let's get to a little fair or foul as we take a look at that fence there. Oh! After staggeringly low viewership in Game 1 of the 23 World Series, Game 2 between the Diamondbacks and Rangers became the least watched Fall Classic game on record. The game averaged just 8.15 million viewers on Fox, so very, very low. Fair or foul, though, Joel? We shouldn't worry about low World Series television ratings, especially as a baseball fan. Fair or foul to not even worry about them? What do you think?
This is still foul, and it's foul for a couple of reasons. I think going into this World Series, you and I think a lot of, passionate baseball fans probably expected this to be a series that only passionate fans really followed.
Yep.
Casual fans really wouldn't have much interest in this. It's not big name teams. It's not the Red Sox. It's not the Cardinals and the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs. It's 2 teams that just don't kind of have that aura, that don't have that baseball brand identity. But just because it's not surprising, it doesn't mean that it's disappointing. When you take a look at how this season started, Skeets, like for baseball, they had a ton of momentum going in. Like, they had huge numbers watching the World Baseball Classic in the States. Like, there was a lot of buzz. USA got to the final. It was a great game versus Japan. Everyone liked the product during the regular season, or most people did. Like, there was just all this positive feedback, and even television numbers were up during the regular season. So when you kind of look from where it started to like where it's been and how it's going to finish, I mean, that's a bad look for baseball to have your lowest rated World Series, considering all of the positive things you've had. And I think another reason too might just be maybe some casual fans, and even really hardcore fans of baseball too just have baseball fatigue, like I said, with the World Baseball Classic and then a long season. And if your team's out of it, I get it. Like you want to move on to football season or basketball season that started. So I'm not surprised with these numbers, but it's still definitely a reason to be concerned.
Yeah.
If you're baseball, because to me, that indicates that you're not like you're not maintaining those casuals that you had during the regular season. And you need that if you want to grow and build your product.
Yeah, the news is definitely a disappointment, even if we expected it with the Rangers and D-backs there in the World Series, because baseball had their most watched league championship series since 2018, so that was good. Mm-hmm. Overall postseason ratings were up 7% compared to last year. That's good. But now here in the World Series, sort of a lot of people are tuning out. Maybe it's because of the matchups, maybe outside of Game 1, because of the games. They haven't been all that entertaining. But I guess the reason I asked you this is, unless you are a league, an advertising, or a broadcast executive, why do you care about ratings? I mean, should you really care? Again, if you're a fan of the sport, who cares? And we get so caught up in, what was the viewership and what were the ratings? I know that it all matters because it's all money.
Right.
But I don't know. It shouldn't take away from your enjoyment, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, that's an excellent point. But to that point, like, I don't know, it's kind of, I feel like when you like something, you want as many other people to like it as well. Yeah. I think that's with anything. So I kind of feel like, oh man, no one's watching this World Series, so that means like no one likes baseball. And not that I take it personally, but like I'm a bit bummed out because I want to talk about it. I want to share it. I want people to see like what's going on. And you make an excellent point. Like outside of Game 1, this World Series hasn't been as exciting as I thought it would be. And I thought it would be a lot closer. Now, we're certainly not done, but yeah, like so far the results haven't been great. Like I said, outside of Game 1, but yeah, should casual fans worry about it? No, you're right, Skeets. They shouldn't, but it's still a shame to just see them this low, considering how great everything else has been this season from a viewership and attendance standpoint.
All right, next one here, fair or foul. Whoever wins this World Series will join the short list of greatest Cinderella stories in MLB history. Is that fair or foul, Joel?
That is definitely a fair ball.
Okay.
Again, like we talked about this, 100, both of these teams lost over 100 games 2 seasons ago. I think if Arizona goes on and pulls this off, I think their Cinderella story will have a bit more prestige just because they did it in a more creative way and they didn't have the financial resources that Texas had. You kind of alluded to that earlier where, Texas quote unquote bought a team and they did bring in a lot of high priced talent. That shouldn't take anything away what the Rangers have done. They still, again, like they also lost 100 games 2+ years ago too. Their turnaround has been excellent. And, it's not just the high priced talent doing this. It's also the rookies and the younger players who just have had a great postseason. So yes, where will they rank the all-time Cinderellas? Like it's in terms of postseason and World Series, they've definitely got to be top 10s because both teams came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I say they're top 10 kind of Cinderella teams, regardless of who wins, possibly even top 5 really, because the turnaround both teams have had has been unreal and no one had these teams at the beginning of the year. I don't care what anyone says. Go back and watch all the preseason previews and all that and the graphics. No one had Texas and Arizona. So both of them are true Cinderellas. They just went about it in a different way.
Yeah, I found this stat fascinating. The Rangers and Diamondbacks, they had a combined .537 regular season winning percentage, okay? 53, call it 54% winning percentage between the two teams. According to OptaStats, that's the lowest winning percentage by the two final teams in the NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB in more than 30 years. You got to go all the way back to the 91 Stanley Cup Finals between the Penguins and the North Stars that matched teams with a lower combined winning percentage in the regular season. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great stat line there, Skeets. Nice one.
There you go. But I'm with you. Either of these teams winning, I think, are on that short list at least. I don't think they're at the top of the Cinderella runs. a lot of people are always like, the 69 Mets, who were like brutal for a decade and then won 100 games and finally won, probably at the top. But they're on the list. They're on the list for sure. And it would be cool with the Rangers winning their first World Series in franchise history. I mean, there's not many teams. I think there's 6 teams currently that have never won one, and they're one of the ones that have gone the longest. I think the Brewers are there and the Padres, and then basically the Rangers. So it'll be big. All right. This one's fantastic here. Things truly are bigger in Texas. The Rangers have a set of 3 24-inch sandwiches available for purchase during the Fall Classic. The 6-foot sandwich set is designed to feed a small group of fans and costs $250. You have the 3-strike lobster roll. You got the boomstick burger, and the boomstick hot dog. Look at these damn things. Joel, fair or foul, the Texas Rangers selling a $250 sandwich set?
That's so fair. That's so fair. It hurts, Skeets. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love how Texas, and maybe to a larger extent, America just doesn't mess around with food. They're like, we're just going to take it to the most insane level that no one is ever going to match. And I have a lot of respect for that. So, but I digress. I'm all about this $250 sandwich, and I'm going to tell you my order. Skeets, if you and I are sharing this, I'm going to ask you what order you're going in. Let's start with the lobster roll. Let's start with the lobster roll. Go big first. Then I'm going to go down to the boomstick dog, have a couple bites of the dog.
Okay.
And I'm going to finish with the boomstick burger. I'm more of a dog than a burger guy. So that's my order. Curious to see what
we'll top it off with a coma. Yeah, the food coma. Top it off with a quick trip to the hospital.
That's okay.
It's crazy. Yeah, the 3-strike lobster, that's lobster, of course, and beef tenderloin served on the soft bun there. The hot dog is covered in nacho cheese, chili, jalapenos, and caramelized onions. And then the burger is a beef patty, basically, covered in a lot of the same things on the hot dog, but throw in some onion rings. Holy moly.
Gosh.
I want to know how many people it honestly would take to tackle this. Because I'm not sure you heard me. That's 6 feet of sandwich. That's JD's height.
Yeah.
In sandwich form. Yeah.
It's 25 people.
25 people.
$10 each.
Yeah. So now it's a deal.
Damn right.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they cut it up for you? Or we got to like hold it, and here you take a bite and it's all flopping. I would hope you can cut it up. I did look into it. A limited number of these at each game. You want to guess how many they're selling at each game? Okay. Joel, you know the answer?
I saw this. I believe they're only selling was it 20 or 30? It's not a high number.
Not even 10. 10 each game.
10.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you got to place an order before you come to the ballpark?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, if there's, just sitting in the stands is so, like you say, Skeets. I was picturing the box for some reason. Like, this is something you get in the private box.
Yeah.
Where there's a guy with a butcher's knife going, here you go, sir.
Yeah.
Here's part of your...
Yeah, can you actually take this to your seat?
Yeah.
Like the entire thing. And like, your poor people sitting beside you. You're like, oh, sorry, my lobster roll's on your knee. I'll get to that end in a second. Hold on.
There's 2 fans holding it for you.
Yeah. Wow, $250. I guess 25 people, $10 a pop. Man, that's
not bad.
It's not bad. Lobster's nice. That's very classy at the ballpark. All right. Final one here in fair or foul. Game 2 of the World Series, Joel, I'm sure you saw this. Man, it was bananas. Because 3 children were seen wearing banana costumes. They were standing behind home plate. They were in a box. They're seen on camera for basically every pitch during the early innings. There they are behind the Google iCloud or Google Cloud. And there was also, you can't see them in this photo, but there were a few adults wearing banana headwear as well in that box. So it was a bunch. Fair or foul, though, Joel, wearing, let's call them Halloween costumes. It was a little early. Behind home plate. Is that fair or foul?
Big time fair. Big time fair. Just have fun. Just have fun at the park. I mean, in sports, I feel people wear costumes to games, obviously outside of Halloween. They get dressed up. Yeah. Especially during the playoffs. I don't know the story behind these kids and these adults wearing banana or
no idea.
banana related costumes. But Skeets, I've got a question. I'm going to tell you my answer, and then I'm going to ask you. So if I was sitting behind home plate and I was wearing a Halloween costume, I'm like, I got to make this count. You know, like I'm going to be on TV. So I would have two costume ideas. One, I would go as Green Man from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Okay, yes. We've seen that before in Philly.
Him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I know that's a bit played out, but like you know, they got to see you. Or I would get like a full body suit and I would get muscles and everything airbrushed on, and I would just stand up as much as possible. It would look totally ridiculous, totally bizarre. They're like, who's that idiot like with the airbrush muscles behind home plate? And I'd be like, that's Joel McMillan.
They're like, is that Joel McMillan or Giant Gonzalez?
Yeah, they'd have to put the fur. Good reference. That's exactly what I was thinking of. I'd put the fur on my shoulders. So Skeets, those would be my two costume ideas. If you're the Halloween guy, we've spent some Halloweens. You're a creative guy. What would you wear behind home plate if you had the chance?
I don't know, man. That's tough. If you're Green Man, I guess I'll be Dayman. To stick with the theme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What? Like, yeah. Hey, look, maybe wear some No Bunts merch. Try and get our numbers up here. I would probably do that. But costume-wise, like, what would really get... Oh, maybe I would dress as the old lady at the Blue Jays game that's always behind home plate.
Geddy Lee?
Yeah, no, not Geddy Lee. There's a grandma that never flinches behind home plate at the Blue Jays.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe I would dress as her, keep it within the baseball world. That's a good question. It's so funny, though. I asked this because, I mean, I know it's Twitter, so of course people are going to be upset, but like, people were livid with these kids because like they're having the time of their life, but they're on your screen every pitch. It was distracting. Like, it's tough not to look at them. People are getting so angry online. Get these kids off, crop them out. They shouldn't be doing that. It's like, okay, relax. But
do you remember from a couple years ago? And I think Skeets, you might even sent me this a couple years ago. It wasn't during the playoffs, but it was during September. And there was a new horror movie called Smile. Yes. And for some reason, MLB put this weird looking woman in the stands, and she just smiled, and she was behind home plate. And they would just zoom in on her.
It's creepy.
What is up with MLB? Like, there's iPad guy, then there's creepy smile woman. Like, who's in the promotions department? What are they thinking?
It's the perfect sport to try things like that, though, because there is enough downtime and there's enough crowd shots, and it can feel organic, and you can like convince yourself, like, is that just a creepy woman smiling or is it something else? There was recently, I don't know what movie it was, but there was like AI looking people. Did anybody see this? It may have been at a football game. I think it was a Chargers game, but same idea of like this cross promotion or like sneaky guerrilla marketing. Yeah, you're right, Joel. I remember that. She creeped me out.
It was just weird.
I didn't want to see
And then they had to acknowledge her and talk about her on the broadcast to promote this movie, and then that just made it even more awkward because you could kind of tell they're like, what are we supposed to do with this woman here? Like, we're calling a baseball game, but we're trying to promote this horror movie. I don't know.
I always wonder what she's paid to do that too.
What a gig.
I know. Hey, just go to a baseball game and look creepy for 3 hours.
Smile.
They probably pay her with a 3-strike lobster roll at the end of the day.
She should be so lucky.
And just while we're on the topic of Halloween costumes, Joel, I'm sure you saw this, but let's show everybody here on YouTube. I think one of the best sports couple costumes of all time. This was making the rounds. This guy dressed as Randy Johnson, and his girlfriend or wife or significant other, maybe just friend, dressed as the bird that Randy Johnson once killed while pitching in midair, and you can see the blood all over the quote unquote bird there. And I think this is an iconic looking costume, so Joel. JD loves it. What are your thoughts, Joel? You like that one?
Yeah, I do. Very, very clever, very creative. It looks good. And I like how it's a little, I don't want to say the costume's dated, but like the incident itself is kind of dated. Yeah. So, props to this young couple for poking fun at this moment from what happened to feel like a long time, at least 20 years ago.
Oh God, yeah, I would think so. Every time I see the clip, it looks like from the old timey. It's like standard definition. I feel like the clip.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's definitely old. Yeah, this is a great costume though.
Great costume.
Do you think he wears a mullet by day?
Yeah,
and
like
a mustache?
does he look like that?
Yeah.
Is that what that guy looks like, or did he like lean into the mustache? It didn't look like a wig. It looked like his hair.
It looked real. Yeah.
Yeah, that's iconic costume there. All right, let's before we go here on No Bunts, play a little "You're Out." That's right, You're Out. 2023 postseason edition. I'm going to give Joel 3 games from this postseason run, entertaining games, and he has to decide which one is out of here. I guess the least entertaining of the bunch. We're going to start with Game 2 of the NLDS. Braves defeating the Phillies 5-4. This is the one where Philadelphia, they initially led 4-0 midway through Game 2. Thanks in large part to Zach Wheeler's no-hitter through 5+ innings. Atlanta, though, flipped the script. Pair of 2-run home runs, taking that 5-4 lead heading into the 9th. And then we had an incredible catch by Harris II at the wall and actually doubled up Bryce Harper, who was screaming around second base, thinking they were going to tie this game. Wild ending to a game and really, really fun. So that's your first option, Joel. Second one, Game 5 of the American League Championship Series. Astros defeating the Rangers 5-4. Altuve hitting a 3-run homer in the 9th inning. Astros rallying to get the 5-4 victory in a wild and testy game. We had big swings of the bat, 3 lead changes late, and then we had the benches clearing brouhaha, which I always love to say. So there's that one. And then your final option, we've already talked about it a little bit. Game 1 of the World Series here, Rangers defeating the Diamondbacks 6-5. Sort of an instant classic there with Garcia's 11th inning walk-off home run after Seager's game-tying 2-run blast in the 9th. So an incredibly entertaining game. Which one of these, Joel, is out of here? Is it Game 2 of the NLDS, Game 5 of the ALCS, or Game 1 of the World Series?
All fantastic games. All very entertaining in their own ways, but I'm probably going to have to say you're out to Game 2 with the Braves and the Phillies, just because it felt so long ago. It's weird. I mean, I know it was only a couple weeks ago, but so much baseball has happened since then. It was in the 8th inning. The Braves ended up being the Braves' only win, which was still an exciting game.
Yeah.
Like you said, the crazy finish with Michael Harris, but yeah, like the Game 1 was unreal. I was kind of I was making notes. I was actually making notes about a Diamondbacks win for the Instagram carousel because I wanted to post it as soon as the game was over. And then I was like, uh-oh, and I just started editing a bunch of stuff. Yes, Seager's game-tying home run in the 9th and then Garcia's walk-off. And then, Altuve's home run, the dude's just a stone cold killer. That was so exciting to watch too. But there really haven't been, we've talked about this before, Skeets. There haven't been a lot of like super exciting games like this. I mean, we've had one good game in the World Series so far. The other ones have been kind of, ho-hum. And I kind of feel like that's been the playoffs in general. So we've got, season's not over yet. Hopefully Arizona can still make it exciting. And we still got a couple good games left, but their work's going to be cut out for them tonight.
Yeah. So which one are you saying is out of here? What's your ultimate decision?
Out of here is Game 2, NLDS, Game 2. Braves and Philly. Yeah. Oh, great game, but just less on the line.
Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, the other two involving the Rangers here, one being in the World Series. Yeah, well, that stat you said, the reason why we haven't had like a lot of super entertaining games is like whoever strikes first is in a good position. I mean, they're holding on to a lot of these victories. I know there's some back and forth in some of them, but if you score first, you are in control for the most part. And we've seen it in a lot of these World Series games, and we'll find out what happens tonight. So, I had Rangers in 5 when you asked me to make my prediction for our Instagram account. Go follow No Bunts on Instagram. So I'll stick with that. I will say they wrap it up. I mean, this will be iconic if they do win here tonight, because that would be 11 straight road victories in the postseason. Like, no one will beat that, really. Like, that will be the best you can do. I guess, no, that's not technically true. But anyway, an undefeated postseason road record, no one will beat that part. So I'll take the Rangers.
No, you're right. I mean, I think this record can own, like with the new postseason format, this record could only be tied. It can't be broken because Texas was the road team. Basically, they've never had home field advantage. So if they win tomorrow, that would give them 11 road wins, which is crazy. Like, which is absolutely insane. And I don't think that record will ever be broken. Yeah. And it's already happened in year 2 of this playoff format. But to go, 11-0 on the road in the playoffs is just, I mean, like, you can't compare it to anything else because we've never seen anything like it. And again, I feel like no one's really like talking about this and talking about like what the Rangers are doing. It just feels like this postseason and the Rangers specifically just continue to break and set new record after record. I feel like every night we see something new. So, it'll be cool. Yeah. If the Rangers can pull it off tomorrow night, first World Series in franchise history and 11 road wins, never been done in the playoffs. What a way to cap the season.
Yeah. So I have Rangers winning game 5. Joel, though, is holding out hope that the D-backs can at least pick up another one, give us some more baseball, but we will wait to find out. Hopefully we get an entertaining game. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoyed this show. If you do, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Like I said, follow us on Instagram. Just search for No Bunts. And make sure you subscribe here on YouTube, the Athletic Baseball Show feed. Here's the plan. By the time you see us next week, the World Series will be over, I believe, regardless of whether it goes 5 and ends tonight or 7. But we'll be here. That's right. Next Wednesday morning, 8:15 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back with Joel to recap the World Series, maybe give out some awards from the postseason or even the season in its entirety, and look ahead to next baseball season. Joel, as always, great seeing you. Great costume, you stud muffin. And I will be sending you over some Almond Joys, some 100 Grands, and any of the other crappy Halloween candy that I don't want. Do you like that junk?
I'll eat all of them.
All right, Almond Joys I will have in the mail later today to Joel in Taiwan. Thanks for joining us. For Joel, for JD, and for myself, J.E. Skeets, enjoy the baseball tonight, and we'll see you next time on No Bunts.